Let's
Let's
reenact
do that.
it.
Oh my gosh,
Let's have a mac and cheese competition.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, everyone, welcome to Next Level Kitchen, where we're taking your cooking skills to the next level with simple tricks and even better recipes.
Heck yes. And today we're going to get a little cheesy with some delicious mac and cheese recipes.
Cheesy because I'm here? Well, that's right, an American institution, mac and cheese, and one of my favorite dishes to cook at home. But before we get cooking, let's talk about the perfect cheese. What do you like cheese-wise?
I think that each cheese has a different application for the style of macaroni and cheese, right? In my family, my Aunt Linda, she was really famous for her mac and cheese. Bless her heart and rest her soul. And so that's really where I learned my mac and cheese style from, was making a sauce. And actually, at my family barbecues, me and my cousins have like a mac and cheese bake-off.
Seriously?
Seriously. And some use bechamel, some add eggs, some use breadcrumbs.
All right, so it was a competition.
Sure, I think it was like our individual personalities on display, and we left it to the audience to see which one was their favorite. But yeah, sure, you could call it a competition.
Let's reenact it. Let's
do
reenact
that.
it.
Oh my gosh,
let's have a mac and cheese competition.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, all right, so let's get into it.
Okay, cool.
Wow, I'm up against it right now because you're talking about bechamel and some really amazing, serious chef things. I am gonna take it the different way. I'm gonna use box mac and cheese. It's in a box for a reason. It's easy to make.
It's in a box.
But now that it's a competition, I'm a little worried, but I'm gonna try and take my mac and cheese next level, Nyesha. I'm going to start by cooking the macaroni in the dairy.
Love that.
But the key, if you are gonna do this at home, and I've seen this on social media, just make sure that the milk doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. I have these amazing Hexclad pans right here. It's not gonna stick, but you could burn the milk. So I'm gonna just dump my noodles in here and just cook them. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, so with this style of cooking the macaroni and cheese, so are you starting with cold milk, hot milk? Like, how does this
I'm
work?
warming it up. Yeah,
Okay.
so I am gonna wait till it gets nice and warm, and then
Cool.
I'm just gonna put in my pasta.
Love that. So yeah, I'm gonna make a standard sort of home-style mac and cheese. I'm melting 1 stick of butter, so I'm gonna start with that, and I'm starting my sauce base. The conduit for the milk and the cheese marriage is what we call a roux, right? So a roux is essentially equal parts flour and butter. You know, you can get fancy and sift your flour if it's been sitting around for a while, which I've done. So I add just a little bit of flour, about equal parts. It's really just the conduit for that marriage of the milk and the cheese.
This is my roux, Nyesha.
Love it.
I don't know what's in here,
All
but
kinds
you know
of
what's in here?
stabilizers.
Magic and science and flavor. This is my roux. Isn't it amazing, though, these flavor packs?
Absolutely.
And it gets so nice and creamy. What is in this thing?
Oh, I love
I hope
it.
cheese. I hope cheese.
I'm sure there's some sort of cheese source. And it's cool, right? You can sort of get those same vibes, but maybe you're cooking for 1 or 2, right? And you don't want to bust out like 7 pans, right? Like,
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
I
so
love
true.
that.
Okay.
I grew up on boxed macaroni and cheese.
Okay, but you're making a roux right now. Because
I
this
am.
is how you win the competition. You make a roux, perhaps.
Well, I think it's about celebrating, you know, the individual sort of characteristics of a dish. I mean, yes, I'm making it today. Did I make a roux when I was 7? No, I ate it out of a box.
All right, so you're making that roux. I have my pasta cooking in the milk, making sure that I'm not burning that. And then, you know, once it starts cooking, it's pretty easy for me at this point. What I'm gonna do is now add what's in my flavor pack. And it just smells delicious. It's cheesy. Yeah, please get in there, right? I mean,
yeah.
It smells like childhood, doesn't
100%.
it? It smells like success, Nyesha. I mean, I think this is the key to victory over here.
Yeah, let's go.
But what's amazing about these, again, is, like, it's just going to turn into a creamy sauce. So I'm gonna add all of my flavor pack. That's got cheese in it, that's got salt in it, and it's also got a lot of that texture that's gonna make this nice and ooey and gooey. So the question is, I talked about this before, you talked about Auntie Linda who makes the baked mac and cheese.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right, she made a baked version?
She did.
Like, to me, there's 2 styles. Baked and sort of like it's got some texture to it, or
Yes.
just ooey and gooey and creamy.
Yes.
Which one do you prefer?
I'm a big, like, I like the little, like, crust baked one, but I want it to be ooey and gooey. I don't want that one that's, like, separated, you know?
Oh, okay, where the actual cheese fat and the oil's coming out of the cheese.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes, yes.
And so I love it to have a cheese pull, but I also want a little bit of that, like, crunch and texture on top from, like, that brulee of the cheese. So, you know, you asked me earlier what type of cheeses I use, and to achieve that, I'm a big big fan of using a few different types of cheeses, right? A low moisture mozzarella is gonna give us a really great cheese pull. I also love the depth of flavor and the salinity that come from aged cheeses. So I'm using, this is my little fancy take on a mac and cheese, but I'm using some Comte, and I'm using a little bit of white cheddar, and I'm also using some Gruyere. So it's a cheese blend.
All right, you're using like these amazing sort of European cheeses, right?
Yes.
I am gonna take it to the best of the American cheeses, maybe. I mean, they're not American cheese, but I have some cheddar, some pepper jack. And then for my cheese pull, I'm gonna add some mozzarella,
Yes.
which is really gonna give it some of that stretchiness, I hope.
Totally.
So here's the key. Now my elbow macaroni, which by the way, I do have a rule. Making mac and cheese, it's gotta be elbow macaroni.
I could not agree with you more.
Okay, that's sacred right there. Okay, so my pasta's cooked. I have now all of the sort of starch that's also in that water that we cooked it in. We have the cheese pack in there. But now, like, you can serve this at home, and my kids would think I'm the best chef in the world, by the way. When I do this, they're like, my dad's amazing.
Of course they do.
But it's just a box, right? It's just the box.
But it's a box of memories.
It is a box of memories, but now I'm gonna take it to the next level. So one of the things I love doing at home is you have this like, okay, everyone makes this, but then how do you take it to the next place? So I'm gonna add now the jack cheese, I'm gonna add the cheddar, I'm gonna just really add more cheese to this, and I'm gonna add a little bit of mozzarella as well. So you got the roux going on.
Yeah, so I've started my roux. I've also dropped my elbow macaroni, and I've also salted my water, right? Again, I think every stage of the recipe is an opportunity for flavor and our seasoning. So I just have some boiling water, some salt, and I have my roux going. And to that roux, I will add some milk. And also, whenever using milk, you want to use nutmeg. Nutmeg really brings out the flavor in cream-based sauces.
Okay, I feel like I have to step it up a notch. I have some bacon left over from breakfast, and I'm just gonna add that to my mac and cheese.
Wow.
Because you got a roux going, you got these fancy cheeses, and I just gotta like, bacon makes things better. Do you believe that bacon makes everything better?
Are you kidding me? Bacon's like one of my favorite foods. It's like, it makes everything better.
So we're gonna add some meat flavor to that. I also happen to have a steak. I think I'm gonna make this a whole dinner.
Who just says I happen to have a steak?
No, I mean, I have a steakhouse, right? So like, listen, this one was maybe a little overcooked last night. I brought it home. That's how it works. You know, I'm a chef.
Sustainable.
All right, so I'm gonna put some mozzarella in here as well. You got your cheese. You're still making the roux over there, right?
Yeah, so I have added my milk and roux's complete. So now we're heading on to the sauce stage of this. So fancy French kitchens might call this a mornay or a bechamel with cheese, right? That's what makes a mornay sauce. Pasta's just about done. For me, I want a really nice al dente noodle, so a little bit of toothsomeness to it, so that when I add that cheese and get that sauce folded in, it's really gonna continue to cook. So I wanna pull out the pasta just before it's complete. And then just really to bring this all together, I'm gonna chop up a little fine herb, some parsley, some thyme, and a little bit of rosemary.
Here comes that mozzarella now in here, and you can start seeing I'm getting some of that stringiness coming from the mozzarella. Let me get all of that in there.
While you do that,
the only thing the only thing, no pressure, Nyesha, but this is a competition, and that platform's gonna be moving eventually. And you gotta make a roux.
Yes, I'm gonna drain my pasta off.
I got bacon in my mac and cheese, and now I need texture. So you have, you said you like the baked version of macaroni and cheese. Sometimes people can put breadcrumbs on them, a little bit of butter, breadcrumbs, sort of like bake the top, broil the top. I love that, but again, because we're keeping this sort of, you know, we're keeping this like, hey, we're using all these ingredients that you might find on that platform, maybe if you're in the basement. I'm going with potato chips right here.
Wow.
Potato chips. And you know what? I want to crush them up, but I don't have time. And sometimes you just gotta get in there and you just gotta smash potato chips. That's gonna be the top of my mac and cheese. And I'm gonna start plating. I'm gonna start plating. I have my mac and cheese over here now. It's super stretchy. Now you can see that cheese pull happening. Can mac and cheese be too cheesy?
Can it? I mean, technically, I guess, but
I don't think
I would say some would say most likely not.
Get in, look at all that. Nice and ooey gooey, stretchy and chewy. I'm gonna go right over to the bowl. And this is gonna be a whole meal, because I have that steak over here. I got bacon in here. Look at that cheese pull happening. That's what you're looking for right there. A little bit of cheese pull. Guaranteed to get an extra couple hundred likes on social media if you have some sort of cheese pull happening.
100%.
I have my crushed potato chips. I'm gonna put these on top. Do I want a little bit more cheese on here? I think I do. I think this has got to be something that's got to be really, really next level because you're going real awesome, like fine dining over there. Potato chips on the top. We got all this texture now, the salt from the potatoes. What do you got going on?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna butter a cast iron pan here, and I'm going to add my roux to the pasta, and really love to sort of mix the cheese into stages as the starch releases into the bechamel or the Mornay sauce.
Because you want different things from each cheese, right?
Correct. And they all have different melt points, right? So really that's the key here. And the pasta is actually going to absorb some of that liquid, so you almost want it to be a little bit more runny than you would think.
Okay, I love it. I love it. Ooey gooey, stretchy and chewy. I now want to get that sort of texture on top of my macaroni, so I wouldn't be Richard Blais if I didn't show up with some sort of torch.
Yes.
Some sort of torch. And you can pop this in the oven if you want, but what I'm gonna do is just get a little bit of this nice charred sort of brulee flavor on these potato chips in this butter. Just get a little bit of that texture going on. Again, if you wanted to do this with breadcrumbs, you can. Okay, there we go. Now I got audio on mine. Do you judge a dish by audio?
Always.
I got some snap and some crackle over here.
Always. A little ASMR never hurt anyone.
Okay. And now, of course, this is like now a meal for a family of 4 over here. I have a little bit of steak, perfectly cooked mid-rare.
Lovely.
All right, here we go. We got our steak. I'm gonna lay this out on top. I need a little bit of color, maybe. Again, feeding the whole family here. You're coming off the fire. You're using breadcrumbs.
I am using breadcrumbs.
Which are nice and golden brown.
And what I'm gonna do is just finish it with some cheese on top.
More cheese.
More cheese.
More cheese.
And again, I add it in 3 layers, in the beginning, middle, and just to finish, so that we ensure maximum gooiness.
Maximum gooiness. I'm chopping some chives. Are you plating?
Yeah, so this is essentially finished.
Oh, there it is.
I've actually pre-toasted my breadcrumbs, so that's already toasted through.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna finish this off. A little bit of chives to give this some color. My mac and cheese, it's ooey, it's gooey, it's stretchy, it's chewy. Every good chef's gonna finish with a little bit of salt. That platform is on the way.
Platform's here, platform's here!
You're bubbling away over there. I think you got it. There's the little flare at the ends. Gotta bring them side by side here.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yours is like bubbling and everything, which is absolutely amazing. There it is. Nyesha Arrington throwing down the classic. I got boxed mac and cheese and potato chips. Who do you think won? Comment below, vote below. Is it Nyesha or myself?